the rematch between Bermane Stiverne and Chris Arreola for the vacant WBC heavyweight title is just a few hours away now, so I want to give my final thoughts and just touch on a few things that I hadn't mentioned in my previous video, my prediction video on this fight. I've been talking to a lot of people on Facebook, as I always do. Very, very active on Facebook. If you ain't a member of my boxing group on Facebook, then you need to be a member, because that group is the best boxing group on Facebook as far as I'm concerned. Not because of me, but because of the other members of the group in there who post great articles and get great discussions going. It's got about 1,500 members now, that boxing group, so make sure you join. But anyway, I've been talking to some people on Facebook and they've been raising some very valid points about this fight. For one, it's in Chris Arreola's backyard. There's a big push, I guess, from Golden Boy with Arreola in this fight, because they're pretty much a Mexican organization, Golden Boy, with De La Hoya at the top. Very close links to the WBC. And they want to have the first Mexican-American heavyweight champion. It's more marketable for them, definitely. I mean, obviously, because he's a Golden Boy fighter. But that, you know, that's their horse. They're betting on their horse. They want Arreola to win. He's marketable. They can get the Mexican fans behind him and the Latino community in general behind him. So they want Chris Arreola to win the fight in a major way. It's in his backyard, so you might get some shenanigans going on with the referee and the judges. Let's just be real. You might. It could very well happen. But at the same time, in the other corner, you got Don King. And he's definitely not as powerful as he once was. He's not as powerful as Golden Boy are today. But he's still got some sway. And he's always had a very, very close relationship with the WBC himself. So can Don King's influence over the WBC counteract Golden Boy's influence over the WBC? Will they cancel each other out and we'll just get a fair fight with fair officials and fair referee? But like I say, it has to be said, there is a decent argument that because it's in Arreola's backyard and whatnot, there may be something fishy going on with the judges and the ref. So you have to watch out for that. Other than that, people are talking about Bermane Stiverne's demeanor coming into this fight. Now, for those of you who ain't familiar with Bermane Stiverne, maybe you ain't watched a lot of the interviews or anything like that, you're not really interested, you just want to see the fight. Bermane Stiverne is a very strange character. Right? We got some strange characters in the heavyweight division. For some reason, the heavyweight division is full of strange characters. Right? We got people like Derek Chisora, we got Tyson Fury, we got David Haye, and now we got Bermane Stiverne. Even Chris Arreola himself is a pretty funny character anyway. So Stiverne is a very, very odd guy. He comes across as extremely, and I mean extremely shy. That's how Bermane Stiverne comes across. This guy can barely string a sentence together in any of his interviews. He comes across as extremely shy and almost comes across as a simple human being. Like, he doesn't have a very high IQ or something like that. I'm not saying that's the case. Maybe he's just not a very good communicator. Maybe he's a genius behind closed doors for all we know. But the way he comes across is like a guy who's a bit learned and a guy who is very shy. That's the way he comes across, like a very shy individual. And for a 240-pound man, powerful, big puncher, it's such a contradiction to have him having such a demeanor. You know, big, powerful guy that can knock people out, but yet he's got this shy persona. It's so strange, man. Very, very strange. So, yeah, he normally has a very shy persona, barely puts a sentence together. He's always umming and ahhing, looking for answers to the most basic and simple questions. But at the final press conference for Stiverne Arreola, Stiverne was totally out of character. And that is definitely a red flag. When you see a fighter behaving out of character, that's a red flag right there. You want to see a fighter being themselves. Chris Arreola at the final presser, he was himself. That was the normal Chris Arreola. All right? But Bermane Stiverne was acting very out of character. Now, a fighter acting out of character can be a good thing sometimes, because you might get a guy, for example, like Buster Douglas, who normally is a bit short on confidence and doesn't really have that much self-belief, and then all of a sudden he's showing all this self-belief in his interviews and whatnot before the Tyson fight, and that was obviously a good sign. People didn't realize it at the time, but it was a good sign. But a At the same time, you get other fighters who are used to being cool, calm, and collected and performing well, being cool, calm, and collected. All of a sudden, they're fired up and, you know, shouting and threatening their opponent. And then you think, oh, hang on, this guy's way, 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 way too caught up in the moment. And I think this situation is detrimental to him. And has that happened to Bermane Stiverne? Has he lost his cool and allowed the magnitude of the event to get to him? Has he allowed Chris Arreola to get to it? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's interesting. Again, European Boxing News brought that up in a comment on my previous video on this fight. So big up European Boxing News, always coming with very, very intelligent points. So he's talked about the mindset of Bermane Stiverne. Will he be in the right place? Going to Arreola's backyard. Arreola's people are going to be taunting him. Stivernes a very quiet, introverted character. How will he hold it together? The main thing is he's been in the ring with Arreola before. That's my overriding feeling. So even though he might face more hostility in this fight than he did in the first fight, he knows what Arreola brings. He's been in the ring with him before. He's felt his punches. He knows what he can do. Yes, Arreola's in better shape this time, but so is Bermane Stiverne. Both guys are 10 pounds lighter than they were in the first fight. So Arreola ain't really going to get the advantage that a lot of his supporters assumed that he would. Because a lot of his supporters assumed that Stiverne would be in the same shape as the first fight, but Arreola would be in much better shape. But no, as much as Arreola has upped his game, Stiverne has also upped his game in terms of fitness. So I don't really see Arreola having an advantage there. I just think there's going to be more punches thrown in this fight, and there'll be more action-packed. I expect Stiverne to stand with Arreola in the pocket a little bit more in this fight than he did in the first fight. Could that be to Stiverne's detriment? Would he be better off boxing the way he did in the first fight? I don't think Stiverne's chin is bad from what I've seen. He was stopped once, but it was a very premature stoppage. He was a bit buzzed, but it was nothing crazy. He's never been down as far as I'm aware as a professional. Nothing I can locate of him being down as an amateur either. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that he can take a couple good shots from Chris Arreola. He took a few in the first fight, but assuming Arreola's in this much better condition that they're saying and he'll be able to land more flush and clean, I think he'll probably be able to take a few of Arreola's shots, and he should have enough sense to, if he gets hurt or stunned or buzzed in the slightest, to say, you know what, let me go back to plan B. It worked in the first fight. Let me use it again in the second fight. So I'm going to give Bermane Stiverne the benefit of the doubt. And even if Chris Arreola is better in this fight, even if the occasion does get to Stiverne a little bit, I'm going to put my faith in him and say, you know what, I think he'll be able to overcome it and still beat Chris Arreola. But yes, there could be controversy on the scorecards, especially if Arreola manages to score a knockdown or has some good rounds or manages to take advantage of the fact that Stiverne is too fired up and maybe wants to exchange. Arreola might be able to take advantage of that and make the fight close. And in which case, you'd imagine that Arreola's got a very, very good chance of winning the fight on points. But I don't know, man. I think Stivernes is just a more talented fighter all round. And I think now that the press conference and everything like that has died down and it's just a lead up to the fight, I hope anyway that he's not letting the occasion get to him and all the pressure of being the first Haitian person of Haitian descent to win the heavyweight title. I hope it's not getting to him, because I just want to see both guys at the best of their ability, fight to the best of their ability. I don't want the occasion to get to either of them. So we'll see what happens. I'm still sticking by my original prediction. I'm taking Bermane Stiverne to win the fight. Not saying whether he's going to win by a KO or on points, but I think he'll win it decisively. I don't think there'll be any controversy if Stiverne wins. If Arreola wins, yeah, there could be controversy if it's on points, but I'm picking Stiverne to win. And yeah, that's just my final thoughts on the fight. Drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about everything I've talked about in this video. This is Haymon. I'm out.